Welcome, everyone, to Paranormal Heart Podcast. We are broadcasting live on United Public Radio 107.7 FM, New Orleans. I am so excited. This is my very first live episode and video episode. So this is pretty amazing. I want to say thank you so very much to UPR for having me join the family. And a huge thank you for Michelle DeRoche for making this possible. It's just amazing. I'm so excited. Thank you. So before I bring the guest in, I just wanted to mention that the show, those of you who are familiar with Paranormal Heart, used to be the second and last Sunday of every month. Now it will be pre-recorded episodes every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So don't forget to share, like, subscribe, and comment. So what do you say we bring in our guest now? So my very special guest is someone that has been on the show a few times already. He's a dear friend that I refer to as brother, Mr. Al Santariga.
Hey, Kat. Thank you for having me on your premiere show. And I'm very excited to be here. And I'm looking forward to tonight. The investigation I'm going to discuss tonight is actually part one of two parts. And if you want to have me on somewhere down the road for part two.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, that would be fine. And yeah, it's a pretty wild experience. And I think you're going to be blown away by everything that we've experienced that night.
So before we get into that, in case people haven't heard of your name before, which is probably, I'm pretty sure everybody's heard of you. Why don't you give us a little bit of a background on yourself?
Okay, my name is Al Santariga. I'm a paranormal investigator. I'm an experiencer. I'm a researcher, cryptozoologist. My mom was a psychic, and my brother was one of the first parapsychologists in the United States. And let's keep it short. That's good enough.
Okay. You pretty much do it all. You have many paranormal hats.
Yes, well, because I believe that they're all connected. So, but that's a show for another time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us about that investigation.
Okay, so last October was a very special October. It only comes around once like every 14 years, from what I understand. There was October on Friday the 13th, last October, there was a solar eclipse and 1% of the moon that night. Okay. And 2 weeks later, there was going to be a lunar eclipse with a full moon. So I said, let's go out to the sacred site and check the energy. Let's check the energy from one to the other and see how the energy changes. Okay. So I put a group of guys together to go out, and everybody bailed on me except for my cousin, who it was his very, very first paranormal experience. And he was a 20-year-old kid, and he was really psyched about it. And I called my psychic, Cindy, because she always wants to know what I'm doing. And I told her what I was doing, where I was going. And she said, don't go alone. And I never go alone. But I said, listen, if I have no choice, weather permitting, as long as the weather is good, I'm going, even if I have to go alone. I don't care. I got to do this. By the time it comes around next time, I'll be way too old to be hiking 4 miles and deep into the woods. So we called Cindy, and I talked to her on the phone, and she said the veil was going to be very thin that night because of the solar eclipse and the 1% of the moon and being Friday the 13th, the whole 9 yard. She said we were going to run across something that she called the bear squatch. Okay, now I sent you a photograph of it. The photograph I sent you is actually a photo of a gugway, and that's what I believe we were going to run across that night. You don't have to. And we come across this later on in the evening, and she also said that she was seeing elves. She said she sees elves. Something was showing themselves to her as elves, but she really didn't believe that they were elves. She believed they were tricksters, and she said, be careful with the tricksters, because they can do stuff like pull your chair out from under you, trip you as you're walking, stupid stuff like that. She goes, they will show themselves to you, And that's actually a photo of fairies, but that's the closest thing I could find. Those are dark fairies. And she said, be careful with them. So we said, okay, no big deal. So we go out there, we hike 4 miles deep into the woods. And, I like to do day night to see how the energy changes from the daytime to the nighttime. And it's a long hike in, it's 4 miles. And my cousin and I are hiking in and we're discussing everything. And Cindy says, when you get there, call me. I want to feel the energy. She goes, I'm a conduit. I want to feel the energy through you. I want to make sure that everything I'm feeling here, because she does everything over the phone. She's in Arkansas. She says, I want to make sure I'm feeling everything right. And there's no changes. So I said, okay. So we got there and I called her. And she it was funny because when we first got there, even though it was daylight out, the woods were devoid of life. We had a 52-acre lake behind us with nothing in it. There was no geese, there were no ducks, there were no swans, there was nothing in the lake. And the woods were just devoid of life. So we call Cindy and she's talking to my cousin and she says, your cousin's sensitive. I didn't know he was sensitive. She's very sensitive. And he's got Native American blood on his mother's side. I was like, okay, I didn't know that. And because his father and his mother divorced. And then she turns to me and she says, I see Native American blood in you. And, I was like, no, I'm 100% Italian. And she's like, nope, I see Native American blood. Now, you got to understand, I've been working with Cindy for 12 years and we argue like a married couple. Okay. And she's like, no, I'm telling you, I see Native American blood mingling with yours. And we're arguing back and forth, and my cousin's laughing hysterical. And then the little light bulb goes on in my head. When I was 18 years old, the guys I hung around with, we were the real motley crew, okay? Everybody was a different nationality. And we were in my friend Randy's basement when I shooting pool. And Randy was half Italian and half Apache. And I said, let's do the blood brother thing. We all cut our hands and we did the blood brother thing. And that's what she was seeing, the blood intermingling with each other. And I totally forgot all about that. It was so long ago. I was like, oh my God, is that what you're seeing? And she goes, yes, that's what I'm saying. So, okay. So she was right as usual. She always tells us what we're going to see. And we always think she's out of her mind because some of the stuff she tells us is crazy. And at the end of the night, when everything is said and done, she's usually right. So we get going and we're sitting there and I got a digital voice recorder on the Western Ridge. It's a voice activated next to a yellow glow stick. And I got a digital voice recorder behind us on the Eastern Ridge. And what I like to do is I like to put glow sticks out. And we had like a green one, a yellow one in front of us, green one to the left. There was a purple one and then a blue one. And next to them, I put EMF meters. So if they move, hopefully, or something comes over, the meters will go off. We'll know something's there, or something along those lines. Or so we got that out, and we hear from across the lake 3 large whoops, whoop, whoop, whoop. So my cousin is he's really excited because it's coming from the other side of the lake. And he's looking at me and I go, welcome to, squatching. This is what we're here for. And we hear this squatch, this Bigfoot going off, and he starts running north up the wood line. But it's incredible what he's doing. It's like every 3 seconds he whoops, but he's a mile away every 3 seconds. And he does this once, twice, 3 times. And my cousin looks at me and says, is that possible? Can they actually run that fast? And I was like, I don't know. I've never seen one run, but I would imagine the only way you can go a mile in 3 seconds is if you're jumping through portals and jumping in and out of portals. I said, that's the only way I can imagine that could happen. So we're psyched up because we know we got the digital voice recorder going behind us. We think, okay, we got this on digital voice, the digital voice recorder. So then we're sitting there and we hear what sounds like a ghost train go by. Whoo, whoo. So my cousin says, are there tracks around here? And I go, yeah, about a mile down the road, there's tracks. I said, but let me explain something to you. There's no trains on those tracks. And he goes, well, how do you know this? I said, because there's a location off of those tracks that I want to investigate. And the only way to get there is via the tracks. So I went to the state police and made believe my kids were on the school bus going over those tracks. And I was complaining there was no crossing arms, And the state police officer just laughed and said, there hasn't been train on those tracks in 30 years. Don't worry about it, So that's how I know that there's no train. So this train, my cousin called it a ghost train. It went off every hour on the hour. It would make that whistle noise. And we're just laughing because he thinks it's a ghost train, but I think it's a Bigfoot. Imitating the old trains that used to go by, and so we're having that debate. So the night is going on, and we're sitting there, and the way the sacred site is set up, it's a circular site on a high ridge, off the beaten trail, with giant megalithic stones set up in a circle, with hundreds of other stones on top of the megalithic stones, with arches and X's and breaks and bends and twists and all kinds of stuff. I didn't send you all of those pictures, but it has all kinds of stuff. And right above the circle is an opening in the tree canopy. Well, we're sitting there having a conversation, talking about the Bigfoot whooping and the train going by, when we hear what sounds like a helicopter hovering above us. Now we look up in the tree canopy in the opening. There's nothing there. But not only can we hear the helicopter blades, we can feel the percussion of the wind blowing everything around. And my cousin's like, what's going on? And I'm like, dude, I don't know if we have that kind of technology that can make a whole helicopter disappear, but I'm feeling and hearing the same thing you are. And we're both laughing because we know we got the digital voice recorder going behind us. So we're capturing everything. Then the helicopter leaves. And now it starts to get dark. And we had very powerful headlamps that night because it was only going to be 1% of the moon. Okay. It was going to be dark night. And Cindy said, be careful with the bear squatch because it's from another realm and it's dangerous. It doesn't know what humans are and it could be dangerous. So be careful. And I'm like, okay, I'll be careful with the bear squatch, not that I plan on going over to it or anything, but, and plus I still have this doubt in my head that this thing is actually going to show up, I don't know why I always doubt her, but I do. I still have this down my head. And my cousin's laughing hysterical because she's explaining what it looks like, what she's seeing. He's like, man, it's got to come from a different realm if it looks like that, And we're sitting there. And I said, okay, let's break out all the toys. And I got a full spectrum camera. I got an IR camera. I got a thermal imager camera. I have a parabolic mic. My cousin's playing with the parabolic mic, and he can't believe how well that thing works. And he's just blown away by how well the parabolic mic works. And we're sitting there, and I got everything pointed in different directions. And I'm thinking in my head, I feel like we're in a dome. And now that it's dark, it's darker than dark, okay? And I feel like we're in a dome, and I'm looking out into a black abyss. I can't see anything. I turn the cameras on, and the cameras don't see anything either. Now, I'm looking for the glow sticks, because I can see the glow sticks with my eye, but I can't see them with the cameras. So I'm just like scratching my head, and I'm thinking I'm thinking these thoughts of how I feel like I'm in a dome, and I'm looking into, when my cousin turns to me and he says, man, I feel like we're in a dome and we're looking into a black abyss. And I just turned to him and I looked at him and said, what made you say that? And he goes, I don't know. Thought just came to my mind. I said, I just thought that. Did you hear my thought? You know, like freaking me out, you know? And he's like, I don't know. He said, let's call Cindy, see what she says. It's dark now. It's 3 or 4 hours have gone by, you know, and we're having those little things going on with the whoops and the train and the helicopter. And the first thing Cindy says is, okay, the energy's changed. I feel like you're in a glass dome and you guys are staring into a black abyss. And my cousin almost falls off his chair. He's like, my cousin Sean is freaking out. He's like, how did she know that that's what we were thinking? I was like, she just knows. Don't ask me. So she says, okay, the tricksters are going to start to show themselves to you guys now that it's dark. She goes, so keep an eye out. She says, and don't forget about the bear squatch, because at some point in the evening, he's going to show up. And I'm like, okay. So we're in there and we're sitting there and I'm filming, and I do 250 different environmental readings because I like to see baseline on the environment, what kind of readings I'm getting. Each time I do a different, I do a Native American ritual, and I first I do the baseline on all 250 to see what I have. Then I do the Native American ritual, and then I do the base. Then I do the readings again to see how they change. Okay, and nothing changes. It's a flat line. I'm not getting any reading from anything, and I'm looking at my cousin, and I was like, you don't understand. It's impossible not to get some kind of reading. There's energy around us all the time. We create energy with our bodies. I should be getting some kind of readings. And he's not quite understanding what I'm talking about because it's his first time out, you know? And so then I have certain frequencies I use, and I put out couple of different frequencies that I'm always pretty successful, not only changing the readings in the environment with, but also bringing stuff in to come and see us. So I do the frequency reading, nothing, flat line, just flat line. And I'm like shaking my head. I was like, this is ridiculous. I've never been at the sacred site, and I've been going there for 12 years, where I haven't been able to get any kind of readings. Every time I go, I get readings. And every time I go, the readings change throughout the course of the night, from day to night, from ritual to ritual, you know? So then I said, okay, I'm going to light some incense. I got a couple of different incenses I use, but this night I was using one particular incense. I said, I'm going to fill the woods up with this aroma. And I light these incense and I just let them burn in the whole woods. You could smell it all over the woods. And I go and I break out my equipment, and it's nothing. Absolute, no matter what I did that night, every reading, 250 readings, 0, 0, 0, all the way through, no matter what I used. And I'm trying to explain to my cousin. Then I'm like, Sean, you don't understand. This is not normal. I get all kinds of stuff up here. I get Morse codes coming out of the sky. I get EMF. I get EMF on the EMF meters. The meters go crazy. 4 miles deep in the middle of the woods, and I'm getting EMF readings. Nothing, absolutely nothing. So we're sitting in there, and it's getting darker, and time is going on, and all of a sudden, to my left, I see the green glow stick starting to move. So I go, Sean, am I hallucinating, or is that glow stick moving? So he looks over, and he says, it's moving. I said, okay, let's go up let's get up and go over and look at it, because I know where I put it. And if something moved it, it's going to be pretty difficult to put it back in the same spot. So we put our headlamps. Now our headlamps are 700 lumas. They go from floodlight to spotlight. Okay. We walk over and the glow stick is exactly where I put it. It hasn't moved at a millimeter. It hasn't moved. So we sit back down and I'm trying to film this with my cameras, and the cameras are not seeing them. The cameras are just not picking up the glow sticks, no matter which camera I used. So we're sitting there, and then on the far corner, I think we had a purple glow stick that starts moving. So Sean says, yo, cuz, that glow stick over there is moving. So we're looking at it, and it's going up, and it's going down, and it's going left, and it's going, let's get up and go take a look. We walk over, and it's right where we left it. Now, none of the meters are going off when the glow sticks are moving. So what's ever moving the glow sticks isn't giving off any EMF. So I'm telling Sean, this is important. Pay attention, because. So then there's a blue glow stick to his right, and the blue one starts doing like figure eights. The blue one's doing figure eights. The green one is zooming back and forth. The purple one is going up and down. And he takes out his cell phone and he starts videoing. And he actually is able to capture it on his cell phone. Meanwhile, I have all this high-tech equipment and I can't even see them on any of the cameras. Now, I sent you that video if you'd like to play it real quick. It's a short video, and it's just mine. I'm using my phone, so I'm not seeing it. I don't know if you can see it on your end.
No, I didn't. But when you first sent it to me, I saw it like no problem. I don't know if it's just the maybe the screen is too bright for me.
Okay.
But when you first sent it to me, I thought, wow. Like, at first, I thought you just sent me a black video.
No, then
I saw it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm sorry it didn't show up. I didn't see it on my screen, but I'm working on a little cell phone too. So, but it's there, and it should show up when you guys put it out. It should be on the video. If you watch this stuff like on YouTube on a big screen TV, you should be able to see it.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah, I think that was the yellow one that moved right there, or the green one or something. No, it was green, I think. It's like that fluorescent green. No, that one's blue, right? That one is blue?
I can't tell.
I believe that's the blue one that's moving left and right. Yeah. That was the one that was closest to Sean.
That's just wild.
Yeah, it's and for the life of me, I couldn't understand how his camera could pick it up, and none of my cameras couldn't even see him. You know what I mean? And they were visible to the naked eye, but they weren't visible to the camera's eye, which didn't make any sense to me. I'm just at a loss. You know what I mean? All the years I've been going out, I've never had an issue where I couldn't see anything in any of my cameras, and I understand it was dark night that night, but these cameras are made for the dark, It was 1%, but it was just crazy. So after that happened, we're discussing it again. Sean and I are sitting there and we're discussing the glow sticks moving and everything, and how we're seeing them move, and yet when we go over to check them, they're right back where I put them, or where he put some on the right side, I put some on the left side, and in front of us, we have yellow glow sticks in front of us. No, orange glow sticks, and I usually use them for amber light, so I don't have the headlamps on all night long. You know what I mean? And so we're sitting there talking, and then the helicopter comes back, and the helicopter comes down. It's pitch black out, and the helicopter comes back, and again, Sean, what are you feeling? Explain to me what you're feeling and hearing. I'm feeling the percussion of the blades. I'm feeling all the leaf litter being blown all over the place. I said, okay, I have a green laser in my bag of tricks. I want to see if I could hit this helicopter with this green laser. And I point this green laser up to the opening in the tree canopy, and the laser goes straight up to infinity. How is that possible? How is it not hitting what's ever there? You know what I mean? How is this? We're not hallucinating. We can see the leaves flying around. We can feel the percussion of the blades. And I thought for sure that laser was going to hit something and stop. I said, oh, I got this now, you know, I got it. But when that laser and it didn't matter where I pointed it in the opening of the canopy, it just went to infinity. And I was like, I don't understand. I know tonight's a strange night. The veil is thin, and it's Friday the 13th, you know, and it's, you know, we had a solar eclipse, and it's 1% of the moon, and it's a crazy, crazy night. But how is that? That's, you know, we're talking physics here, you know. If there's something physically there, that laser should stop when it hits it, you know.
Do you have any ideas at all as to why you could not see it, but you could feel and hear it?
I have no clue. You know, we discussed, well, maybe it was in a different realm, you know, or maybe the dome we were in would allow us to hear and feel stuff, but not be able to see anything. Maybe that laser light really didn't go through the dome. We just thought it went through the dome. I'm at a loss. This has never happened to me.
Yeah.
This has never happened to me. I have no clue what I'm dealing with. You know, it's my cousin's first time out ever, and he's blown away. And I'm telling him, I'm like, Sean, the stuff you're experiencing tonight, people that have been doing this for like 25 years don't experience this kind of stuff, you know? I said, this is crazy stuff. I said, and I'm glad that you're here to validate everything I said. And I'm not, people just don't think I'm making this up because you're my witness, you know? And he goes, no, cuz I got your back. Don't worry about it. So then we settle back down. And every so often we would get up. I would get up and check to make sure the digital voice recorder was still going, because the one behind us ran for 72 hours straight. And then every now and then I would send him. I said, Sean, you go look. You got young eyes. You got better eyes than me. You check, you know? And he would check and he'd say, no, it's still going. No problem. Don't worry about it. It's like, okay. So we're sitting there. And it's getting later now. It's maybe the wee hours now, you know. We've been there a long time. We got in there around 4:00 in the afternoon. And we've been in there all day. And now we've been in there all night. And it's dark, Cat. 1% of the moon is dark, you know. And I'm looking at the Western Ridge. And I don't know what I'm looking at. And I'm confused. But I know I'm looking at something different or strange, but the little light bulb's not going on. So all of a sudden, the light bulb goes on, and I say, Sean, lean over here and tell me what you see. So Sean leans over, because it was a big tree in his view. So he leans over to my side. And he looks, and he goes, what am I looking at, cuz? I go, you tell me. Because I'm looking at 3 yellow glow sticks. I go, okay. And then I look at him, I go, how many yellow glow sticks came in the pack? 1. So why are there 3 yellow glow sticks looking at us now, right? So we're sitting there dumbfounded. We're trying to figure this out. And I turn away from him for a second to look again. And he turns away to look at the glow sticks moving again. And then he turns to me and he says, "What do you want?" And I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You just tugged my shoulder. What do you want?" And I was like, "No, I didn't tug your shoulder." He goes, "Yeah, I just felt you tug my shoulder." I'm like, "Must have been the elves or the tricksters, whatever they are, because it's not, I didn't tug you. I'm looking over here." So at one point, I said, "Okay, you know what? We got to get up and we got to go over and we got to see what these 3 yellow glow sticks are, because to the life of me, I can't figure out why there are 3 yellow glow sticks looking back at me when I only put 1 over there. And there's an EMF meter behind it, okay? And the EMF meter is not going off." So I said, "Okay, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to walk about 50 feet and we're going to stop. Then we're going to put our headlamps up and we're going to put them on flood to see as much as we can possibly see, because the woods are dark, you know." And I figured between him on the right, me on the left, we could light up the whole western ridge, more or less, you know. So as we were walking over, we get about 40 feet. I want to go another 10 feet to when 2 of the yellow glow sticks blink. And I grab Sean, I stop him in his tracks. I go, "Stop." I go, "Is it my imagination? Or did those 2 yellow glow sticks just blink?" And he says, "They blinked." I think, "Maybe we should put the headlamps on now before we get any closer." So we put the headlamps on, and there is something brownish, gray, squatting by a bush. It's squatting. Can't really make it out at first because it's like the same color of the rocks and the trees and everything, you know, there's no leaves on it. And we're sitting there and we're looking at it and we're trying to figure out what the hell we're looking at, when it starts to stand up. And it stands up and it's going up and up and up and up. And we're looking up at this thing. And I look at Sean's face and his jaw is dropped. And I know exactly what he's thinking. His brain cannot comprehend what his eyes are seeing, because my brain cannot comprehend what my eyes are seeing. Okay. And we're looking at this thing and he goes, "What the hell is it?" And I go, "It's the bear squatch Cindy was talking about." And Sean says, "Well, maybe we should back out of here," because she said it's dangerous. And I said, "Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Back out slowly." We took 1 step back and this thing took off running north up the woods. Just turned and ran. Just took off like a shot. It was running. And at the end of the sacred site, at the end of the circle, there's like a 4-foot stone wall that runs through the woods just for no reason. This thing jumped over the stone wall. And when it landed, it was 200 yards away from us. The ground shook where we were standing. And then it just started taking down trees as it was running north. Didn't make any noise, didn't growl, didn't show us his teeth. It just took off running. So we go back to base camp and we call Cindy. We said, "Cindy, we just had an encounter with your bear squatch thing. We seen it. It's huge. It had to be tall and..."
Lost your audio for a second there.
Okay.
You said it was huge?
Yeah, it had to be 10 feet tall and 1,500 pounds, maybe 2,000 pounds. It was big and bulky. Had long arms, though, like almost like gorilla-ish, you know? And it took off running. So we call Cindy and we tell her, you know, what we experienced. And she says, "Okay, it's probably a pretty good time for you guys to pack up and leave, because we got a 4-mile hike back out, you know?"
Yeah.
And it's a long hike. And like I said, I'm an old dude. You know, Sean is 20 years old, but the Appalachian Trail where we are is like a goat trail. It's all rocks. It's jagged. The ground is wet. We had so much rain that last autumn. We had a lot of rain, so there's still water running off the mountain on the rocks, making them slippery. We got 1% of the moon, so we got to move really, really slow because I don't want my cousin to get hurt. I don't want to get hurt. Last thing, I left his house. When I left his house with his father said, whatever you do, make sure he comes back in one piece, you know? It's my only son. I was like, yeah, I got this. Don't worry about it. So we're hiking along the Appalachian Trail that runs along the lake, the 52 acre lake. And we're a good mile into the hike back to we got the headlamps on, and we got a good mile in. And all of a sudden, we hear, bada boom, something gets thrown into the lake, okay? And we both turn around with our headlamps, and the splash went up about 25 feet. I don't know how big this stone was, but it had to be humongous, okay? And it goes up 25 feet. The splash goes up 25 feet. And I look at Sean, and he's white as a ghost. And he goes, what's that? I said, Sean, don't worry about it. It's just a beaver, I told him. Splashing with his tail. It's just a beaver. And he goes, it's just a beaver? I go, I promise you, it's just a beaver.
It's a big beaver.
Let's just keep going. In the meantime, as I'm talking to him, I'm looking past him up the mountain with my 700 luma headlamp to see if I can see the bear squatch with another rock in his hand, or up on a cliff, or, you know, eye shine or something up there. And I can't see anything up there. And Sean is like, I think it came from the other side of the lake, whatever that splash was. I go, well, if something threw a rock from the other side of the lake, it's a 52 acre lake, and it only landed like 10 feet off the shoreline. You know what I mean? I go, I don't think it came from that cliff. I said, I think if there was something here throwing rocks at us, it came from here, but I'm pretty sure it's just the beaver, because the beavers here, there's the kid who just moved up from the city. He's got no clue how big beavers get, you know? I said, the beavers up here are huge, right? So he goes, okay, it was a beaver. So we start walking and walking. Another mile, we got another mile down the road, and another one comes flying over our heads, hits the water, bada boom, another splash. And we both turn around, and the water goes up 25 feet. And he's looking at me, still think it's a beaver, cuz? And I'm like, I'm going with beaver, I told him. That's what I'm going with, you know, because I don't want to believe that the bear squatch is following us, trying to hit us with boulders, you know what I mean? But that's what every fiber of my being is telling me, that this thing, after we left the sacred site, because Cindy did say one thing. She said, long as we stay inside the sacred site, we were okay, because I had a premonition of a white Sasquatch that told me to go there and sage and bind. So I had gone there like 2 weeks ahead of time to do that. And I don't know why I did it. I just had this premonition. So I went and I did it. And she said, long as you stay inside the sacred site or on the Appalachian Trail, you'll be fine. She says, don't venture off the trail. Well, we have to venture off the trail to go a mile up the mountain to get to the sacred site. You know what I mean? The site is off trail. But anyway, we finally get to the mining road. Now we have another 2 miles to get to the front, to the ranger station at the front of the park, right? And we're walking, and we're walking out, and we're talking about how crazy everything was that night. And again, the woods are still devoid of life. There's no deers, there's no raccoons, there's no possums.
No insects?
No insects. And it was warm that night. Both nights we went out were warm nights for October, okay? Again, no ducks, no geese on the lake, no nothing. It was like this giant 14,000 acre plot of land had no animals on it, you know? It was just ridiculous. So we're hiking. We get to the mouth of the lake, the beginning of the lake. We stop, we take a break, and I tell them, okay, listen, we're going to have to go past the ranger station. Now, you're not allowed to be at the lake at night, but the Appalachian Trail is open 24/7, 365 days a year. We can be on the Appalachian Trail, but we can't be at the lake. So when we get to the ranger station, this is what's going to happen. There's an invisible light that they have that when you walk through, it rings a bell in the station. He has dogs. The dogs go crazy. By the time you walk 10 feet, you're underneath the spotlight, a sensor light, and then the ranger will come out to talk to you when you're under the light, when he can see you. Let me do all the talking. It's like, okay. So we finally walk the next 2 miles to the ranger station. We get to the ranger station. I take out some hairspray and I show them the invisible light. Here's the invisible light. It's right here. And that sensor light up there, that's going to go off when we go underneath and yada, yada, yada. And we both step through the invisible light. And then we're looking up at the ranger station. The lights are on. The police car is parked in front. We walk through that invisible light. We break that beam. We don't hear any dogs. And we both stop, look at each other. We look up there. No one's coming out. We walk another 10 feet. Now we're underneath the sensor light. The sensor light doesn't come on. We look at the sensor. He looks at me and he goes, well, how high is the sensor? I said, the sensor is set at about the 5-foot level, so no small animals set it off. Mm-hmm. He goes, well, shouldn't it have gone on? I said, yeah, it should have gone on. So when we walk, so we keep walking, we get out to the main road. It's maybe 100 yards away. We sit down on the guardrail to have some more water and discuss what just happened, because for the last 12 years I've been going there, all of those things happen every single time. The ranger always comes out. And if he doesn't catch you on the property, he will jump in the car and race up to the trailhead where we park our cars and stop us up there to talk to us, okay? Mm-hmm. We're sitting on the guardrail 100 yards away from the sensor light, drinking some water, when the sensor light goes on by itself. And there's nobody there. And he looks at me and I look at him, and we
quite the delay.
We laugh hysterical, right? So we got another half a mile hike straight up a mountain to the trailhead where the car is parked. We get up there, we throw all the equipment in the car, and he says, go through the digital voice recorders. Let's see what we got. I said, okay. So I go to the voice activated one. It never came on. For whatever reason, nothing ever activated it. Okay, well, we were at the other end. We were on the east end. That was on the west end. That's no problem. So then we get the one that was behind us that runs for 72 hours straight. And we go to that file. We open up the file, and the file says error corrupted. We got nothing.
No.
Nothing. And my cousin is like, his jaw just dropped. He's like, how is that possible? And I was like, the only thing I could think of is when that helicopter came back the second time, it zapped our equipment, because there should have been everything from the howls and the train and the helicopter and us talking. We were talking all night. We were sitting in front of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Discussing, did you touch my shoulder? Look at these sticks. We're having all these conversations. We're having conversations with Cindy. She's on the speaker. So everything should have been on it. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Just crazy, crazy night. And that just inspired me to go back 2 weeks later. And the next time I come on, we'll discuss that. If you have any questions, or if there's any questions in the chat room or whatever you want to do, we could hit up on it.
Well, I have one that's a two-parter from Sir Brian Bowden. Hello, Uncle.
I'm not answering anything from Sir Brian Bowden. Absolutely not.
I don't blame you. Kidding, Brian. We love you. He says he has a two-parter. When is a BPS Christmas party? And when are you going to go visit him in Florida so you can investigate his places there?
Okay. The Christmas party this year is in January. And when hell freezes over.
Oh, that's funny. For those of you watching and listening, if you don't know, Al and Brian are great friends,
partners in crime.
Yeah. Both bad news. No.
Him more than me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, no, but I mean, if you have any questions about anything that happened that night, just shoot them at me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyone in the chat, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So when do you plan on going again?
Soon. I was talking to a friend of mine, Chris Reinhardt from Discover Sasquatch, and he's having all kinds of activity up at his house. He's having stones thrown at him. Not only small stones, but stones the size of softballs, and he's being growled at, which is something unusual because he's used to gifting with them, and he's never had any negative stuff happen with them. But he feels like the stuff that's going on now is. So I'm going to go up to his location one Saturday and spend the night up there and investigate up there. Then he's going to come down here, and we're going to do a night at the sacred site, and we're going to investigate there. And then we're going to shoot over to the Shanley Hotel. It's a haunted hotel in the Catskill Mountains that I've been to a million times and investigated. And he wants to go there, and Chris is basically a Bigfooter, but he wants to start dabbling in the paranormal. And so he wants to go to the Shanley and do some investigating there. So I said, absolutely. I know the owner of the place. And I said, I'll call them up and we'll go there. And so those are what's going on with so far. The two investigations with the Bigfoot stuff, the ghost with the Shanley. I'm working on a case out of the West Coast. I had a friend of mine who's a psychic contact me. She joined the paranormal team, not knowing the team, and she read the location. They were going to a location to investigate. She wasn't going with them. They just wanted her to read the location. And she said, okay, there's a lot of stuff going on in the house, like hauntings going on in the house, right? So this guy who's leader of the team went there with his team, left her home, and instead of helping the family make things better, he made things worse, because he had somebody from California reach out to him and told him, if you can film this and you can get evidence, I can get you on TV. Okay? So he's made the situation unbearable for the family who lives in the home. So this person called me, and I said, well, I don't know what I can do for you. And they said, please put me in contact with Cindy. Cindy could help. So I put him in contact. I called Cindy. I said, are you willing to help? And Cindy said, yes, I'm willing to help. So then Cindy read everything, and she said, okay, the land, and it's not just that particular house. It's a big plot of land, like hundreds of acres. She said the land that this development is built on, there were two warring native tribes that were warring on it. So there was a lot of dead braves that died, warriors that died on this land. It's blood soaked. And at some point, medicine man went in there to calm all the warriors down, and everything was fine. This guy, now this medicine man is in spirit form, and he's there with the warriors to keep everybody calm and relaxed. But this guy from this leader of this team, he disrespected the Native Americans and the medicine man, and the medicine man let everything loose. Just all hell is breaking loose. And Cindy said, if we don't put a stop to it now, these people are going to start dealing with Wendigos and skinwalkers and everything else. This guy's going to open up the doorway to the other side and just let everything in, you know? And not only is this family going to be screwed, but everybody who lives in that development. And but what the medicine man did was he put a curse on the leader of the team. And now the leader of the team, because my psychic friend from out west couldn't get anybody on the team to give her the name of the family or the location, because they wanted to go there. She wanted to go there with Cindy and cleanse it and seal it and calm everything down. But they wouldn't give up any information because they were afraid the leader of this paranormal team was going to throw them off the team. But now this guy has reached out to her because he's sick as a dog from the curse.
Yep.
And he's like, please, here's the name of the family. Here's the location. Please go there and resolve this, because I feel like if I don't resolve it, I'm going to die. And so I called Cindy and I said, you know, we got good news. We got the name of the family. We got the location. And well, she goes, well, I got bad news for you. And I go, God, what? She said, the medicine man came to me and he told me that he's not taking the curse off that guy.
Oh.
And she said, on top of that, Al, my spirit guides told me not to take the curse off that guy either. So I don't know if they're going to make this guy really, really sick, put him on death's door before they take the curse off to teach him a lesson, or if they're just never going to take it off. But Cindy said her spirit guides told her not to take it off. The medicine man said he's not taking it off. And so now that they have the name of the family and the location, my friend out west is going to get Cindy and via FaceTime, and they're going to go there together. And I reached out to some friends of mine who are Native Americans out on the West Coast, because I don't know exactly what two tribes there were that were warring there. Mm-hmm. So I told my friend out west, go back, do some history, do some research, find out what two tribes are fighting over this land, and then go to both tribes and get a medicine man from each tribe and bring them there and have them seal it again and bring peace to it. At the same time, you know, you got to give an offering to the medicine man in spirit form, you know, to keep everything that way. And I said, and, you know, you have to build like maybe a little altar or something and do an offering once a week or something, just to keep everything fine. Because, you know, Cindy said, I can cleanse the house and seal it, but I can't do anything about the property. It's just too far gone, you know? So they're going to get together and they're going to go there. Cindy's going to go via FaceTime, and my other friend is going to actually physically go there. And they reached out to some people that I know on the West Coast and trying to find two medicine men from these two exact tribes to go there and bring peace to the location. But that guy was such an idiot, because there was a 2-year-old kid and a 4-year-old kid living in that house, and they were being tortured by Native American spirits, tortured because they were wide open, you know?
Yep.
And Cindy was losing her mind because she's half Native American, you know? And she said, this is ridiculous. Why would they do something like that with little kids in the house, you know, just to make a few dollars, to be on TV? And so we're working on that, you know. I'm kind of the middleman between the two psychics, you know, but, you know, that's going on. And it looks like it finally took a turn for the better, you know, because we really didn't know what we were going to do if he didn't give up the name or the location, you know. Yeah. But the good thing is the medicine man took care of that.
Good, great. And that's the thing sometimes with paranormal investigations. Either people just don't take the precautions for not just the team member, but the families as well. But some of them don't actually do research as well. And you can actually make the activity in the home ramp up.
And that was his goal. His whole goal was to make it ramp up so he get evidence on video so he could give to this guy from California, some producer from California that he knew, who told him he could get it on, sell it to the networks. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all about the almighty dollar. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's something that it can be so dangerous for so many people.
Yeah, and like Cindy said, Al, it's not just that family on that 1 acre of land. That there's like 100 acres there that's been built up, and all of those people. She said, if this medicine man opens the gates, it's going to be like open the gates to hell. She said everything is going to come true. Wendigos and skinwalkers and everything in between. So it's like, oh God, we don't want that to happen.
I jokingly tell my daughter, because we don't like to say the word skinwalker, we'll just say epidermis slow runners. They won't be drawn to us if we put it that way. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it's just, so that was something I was working on the side, that's they reached out to. I have another case that I'm being worked out from another team out of Connecticut, but we could talk about that another time as well.
Definitely.
Out
Yeah.
of time, yeah.
Yeah. So we have a couple of more minutes. So I want to thank you, first of all, for being my first guest for my debut on United Public Radio. And this has been amazing. Like, I still can't believe that I actually finally did live and video. But if you could tell the viewers and listeners where they can find you.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Bronxville Paranormal Society, New York State UFO Project, New York State Sasquatch Organization, New York State Dogman Project, Region 3 North American Dogman North American Dogman. I'm the Region 3 director. Or you could just find me at Al Santariga on Facebook. If you have any questions, I'm very accessible. Just shoot me a message on Facebook Messenger, and I'll answer it as honestly as I can.
You're pretty much everywhere. You've got your fingers into everything paranormal.
Yeah, but I just try to stick on Facebook. Like Brian's on every social media site in the world.
Yeah,
I just can't. I can't. I stick to just one thing, and I work for. One more thing I want to just real quick. I just got invited to the Western Connecticut UFO conference, and I'm going to be speaking there on the 24th, I believe it is. I'm going to go on. And then Mark D'Antonio is going to go on after me. And it's going to be a whole monthly thing. Got Tom Reed is going to speak. And Peter Robbins is going to speak as well. So you could go in, just log on to the Danbury Library website. And it's called the Western Connecticut UFO. And you can watch it, live via Zoom.
Okay. That's awesome. Wish I could go and watch too, but up here in Canada, it's a little difficult to go down to the States.
Yeah, a little bit. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you so very much again, Al. I really appreciate this. Definitely have to have you back on, because we have to have part 2.
And part 2 is so much more insane. If you can believe it, part 2 is so much more insane.
Knowing you, I can believe it.
Thank you very much.
So thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you to everyone in the chat room. I really appreciate you. This has been amazing. So remember to like, share, and subscribe. And if you want to be on the show, send me an email at paranormalheart13@gmail.com. So don't forget, now on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be on United Public Radio, 107.7 FM New Orleans. Thank you so much, everyone. Much love to everyone. Take care.
Congratulations, Kat.